Hello and thanks for joining the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. I am Fayemi Oguntoye. Let us remind you that we have 122 days to the 2019 general election in Nigeria as issues surrounding the all-important polls continue to unfold. Today on the program, Fayemi inaugurated as Ekiti State Governor as Fayose moves to Abuja, says is not scared of EFCC. APC moves to reverse INEC ban on Zamfara. And later on the show, Boko Haram kills another health worker, used 43 children for suicide bombing in 2018. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, Wahid Bakari and Adekunle Yusuf. Journalist Hangout starts now. Well, the essence of democracy is for people to have the power to choose who governs them and change their leaders at intervals. So it's been for people of Ekiti State. After July the 14th, the governorship election baton changed hands on Tuesday. Governor Ayodele Fayose bowed out, making way for Kayode Fayemi, who is staging a second coming to the seat. At his inauguration ceremony in the state capital, Ado-Ekiti, Governor Fayemi promised to use natural and human resources for economic growth and industrial development of the state. What's to be expected from Fayemi this time? That's $1 million question. Gentlemen, good evening and thank you for joining us on the show. Well, Governor, of course, the new Governor, Fayemi, began his speech with the rather poetic one. He said the land is ours. He was talking about vultures with blood in their mouth and, of course, the fact that the land is freed. But there was some would say that it's indeed the end of an era. The new governor is saying that it is the end of an era. Is that a pointer to what we will expect in this second term?
Well, you know that there has never been what you can describe as a cordial relationship between Fayemi and the man who defeated him and who has just left office. Maybe things could have been better because Fayemi is known to have congratulated Fayose after he was defeated. I still insist that he was defeated and well defeated. But somehow he changed his mind. A man who had congratulated Fayose went back to saying that he didn't believe that Fayose won the election. And then went to court, right out to Supreme Court, but he couldn't get the court to kick Fayose into touch. Fayose ran the state for 4 years. Remember the matter of Fayose's impeachment. An impeachment not known to Nigerian laws because from the beginning it was deemed illegal because the committee that was set up to probe Fayose in the days and then determine whether it was indeed good enough to be impeached was the legal one because the House of Assembly suspended the chief judge, and they had no power to do that. It's the NJC that can do that. They went ahead because they felt that the chief judge at the time would not do their bidding. Removed him, put their own person there, and they were wasting their time. And the then CJN, Justice Belgore, said, look, this impeachment is not known to Nigerian laws because they wasted their time. From the beginning, the processes were faulty. So whatever they did after that time amounted to nothing in the face of the law or in the eyes of the law. So, but Fayemi and his supporters continue to say Fayose did not defeat them. Today, they continue to say Fayose was not really popular, although he went on, won at least 3 other elections that were conducted after that. I don't want to make Fayose look like the greatest politician to ever come out of Nigeria. But the truth is, He defeated Fayemi. Fayemi and the supporters remain bitter about that. The relationship between them has not been good. So if Fayemi mounts the podium and says the end of an era, it is justified because it's just demonstrating the deep animosity between him and the man who defeated him. So that's what happened. But I would think that it should just get down to brass tacks, fix the state. Yes, mistakes have been made by the past administration. Fix the state. Do less talking. That is not what the people want at this time. The people are distraught. All you need to do is offer hope. Practically offer hope. Don't dwell on the past, because that is the mistake that Nigerian politicians continue to make. The people are not interested in sophistry. They are not interested in you going back to the past. Just give them the dividends of democracy. And in doing that, you will give yourself immortality. Immortality that spoken words can't give you. Immortality that the best English and poetry cannot give you. If you work for the people, they will see, you become their hero.
It's all right.
It's as simple as that.
It's very interesting how things are playing out in Ekiti. Fayose was impeached, returned through the ballot. Fayemi, lost an election, is back again via a ballot. But he made mention of the fact that he's not on a revenge mission, that he's going to heal, he's coming with a healing balm on a painful wound. But in the same breath, he mentioned the fact that the governor is owing some money, which the governor, of course, reported before he left office. What do you expect to play out in the next 4 years in that part of the country?
Well, I think it's a rare opportunity for him, like you rightly put it. We have a situation whereby a governor was defeated in person of Fayose. He came back, won election. The same scenario has played out and has brought back Fayemi. It's quite unprecedented. We have never seen a thing like that.
Not defeated.
Okay, he was not defeated anyway. But he also has the opportunity of coming back. So whatever mistake that Fayemi made in his first term, this is an opportunity for him to correct it. You also recall that there was this widespread belief among Ekiti people that he distanced himself from the people, from the grassroots. And that was why it was very easy for Fayose to beat him hands down in all the local governments. And you also recall that why Fayose was going on his electioneering, going to meet the people, giving them food stuff, going to the grassroots, mounting Okada, doing all sorts of things. Fayemi also tried to replicate,
eating corn.
Eating corn. Fayemi also tried to replicate it, but we also discovered that it didn't sit well with him because it's like he was not used to
natural.
He was not used to it. He was not used to it. He was trying to play along. While the other man was giving out food stuff, what he did in his case was that he even cooked the jollof rice and served it with his wife beside him. Yes. But despite that, he was rejected. He was rejected by the people. Saying that no, but he now has the opportunity. Whatever mistake he made in the past, there was no doubt about it that he made mistake. By distancing himself from the people, he run an elitist government.
Yes.
While Fayose was a grassroots person, he could go to any booker. I'm not saying that governance should be taken to that level anyway, but you can't distance yourself from the people because governance is about the people.
That's right.
They are the people that brought you here, and you must connect with them. There must be that connectivity between you and the people.
Let me come to you, Adekunle. The politics of Ekiti has been between Fayemi and Fayose in the past couple of years. There are some who will say that it's been a battle between the politics of stomach infrastructure and the ideology of intellect and what Fayemi calls restoration of values of the land. But there appears to be a thin line between the two because the new governor is also talking about social security for the elderly. It's the politics of giving money to the people. What are your thoughts as regards that?
Well, it's just a matter of semantics. When you try to run other people down, they all do the same thing. But today in Nigeria, everybody believes Fayose is the stomach infrastructure, politician that he was in office for stomach infrastructure. But there is no governor, even the president of Nigeria, they do it. But when you look at Fayose, the way he came in and all that, when he defeated because I just like Jide, I disagree with anybody who will tell me that Fayose didn't win, you know, I think 2014. He won clean.
Hands down.
Forget anything that anybody is saying.
Hands down.
Politicians will always say whatever they like to say. He won, and it was not because anybody rigged the election. But the day after the election, everybody was surprised the way, you know, the new governor, Fayemi, behaved. He shocked everybody. He wrote the speech himself and congratulated Fayose. And at the end of the day, everybody knew what happened. But all of a sudden, and you see Fayose, he started well. But you know power. He started misbehaving, he became power drunk and all that. That was how he missed the road. I don't think Fayemi should do the same thing. What's the point calling his regime or his tenure an error? Look at the result of the last election.
That was the basis on which he won the election.
Fayose was not on the ballot, but look at the result. I am urging Governor Fayemi to believe that Fayose is still hugely popular in Ekiti. He came to Ekiti with a governance style that may not sit well with many people. I don't like that, you know, style too, you know, because we destroyed a lot of things, values, decency, everything. I always see him as the Yoruba man, the most, somebody who is not qualified to be in that kind of office, just because of scientists he was doing at the time. But now, I don't think anybody like Fayemi who has the opportunity of a second chance, even in the spiritual realm, it's a privilege to have a second chance. He should use it to rebuild, not always tell us somebody owed money. Government is a continuum, because when Fayemi left in 2014, he also owed. He left, you know.
He left a dead stock.
Yes.
I'm just thinking that
so
if government is...
stop referring to somebody as not paid, somebody is owing this. If everything is all right, one party will not lose election, another party will not come. One party will be winning. So I don't want to be, you know, opening my newspapers and what I see is Fayemi complaining today, complaining. You should just do what he's voted to do. 4 years, before you know it, you come to the end of that regime. And
you're tasking the new governor to break the cycle. Recall that when Fayose was inaugurated, it began with showing us pictures of how much money the past governor spent on the new governor's house. But if government is a continuum, how do you continue, you know, a government without probing the previous government?
No, when we say government is a continuum, what we mean is that the liabilities that government left, you show that you take it on board. The contracts that have not been completed, you don't abandon them. You continue those contracts. So once it's like you inherit a car from your dad. Whatever the state of that car, it has become your own.
You have to manage it.
It's incumbent on you to maintain the car.
Make
it look good, you know. Even if it is a woman that you inherited from, you know, from your old man, you do the same thing. You take care of her, you minister to her, you make her look good.
And not use the previous administration as an excuse for non-performance.
So don't.
I like the way you're putting it.
Let's not. You see, these politicians have a problem, and that is why they always run into problems. When you come in just trying to damage the person that your predecessor, that one too, from the outside, it will be waging war against you and trying to make sure that you do not succeed.
That's right.
You and I can see that it's happening in Kano. It's happening in Kano. War has been declared. And the manifestations of the war in Kano are not palatable.
We have a caller from Ogun State. Let's take this call very quickly. Hello, Tayo. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen in the studio.
Good evening, sir.
The situation in Ogun State is a wake-up call for all politicians.
I'm wondering exactly what you are referring to. We are talking about the Ekiti State here, Tayo.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You see, why I said there should be a wake-up for all politicians is that if they remember that 4 years is not a long time, they will do well. They will make use of the time that they have. Now, like I'm going to toe the lines that all of you in the studio have said. And my candid advice to Dr. Fayemi is not to go on a revenge mission. He should ensure that he gives to the people of Ekiti State a good life as he has promised them. He should also forget that the things that he has promised them during this day, he should ensure that he fulfills them. And by doing so, the people of Ekiti will praise him more for that.
It's
and
all
by
right.
that, he can restore the value.
Thank you very much, Tayo, for your contribution. There's an other side to the coin. The immediate past governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, is now the man in the eye of a turbulent storm. With his immunity gone, the future for Fayose remains uncertain over a running battle with the EFCC. But the man who fondly calls himself Peter the Rock says he's not scared of the anti-graft agency. And to live up to that declaration, he's gone to Abuja to have a date with the EFCC. He did not only go alone, you saw his T-shirt, I'm here. I'm here for you.
EFCC, I'm here.
It appears that Fayose is showing that he's really the Rock and is not afraid.
You see, the thing is, when the EFCC came up with the idea of putting him on the watch list and even notifying the customs, you know, as if Fayose were a bag of rice not meant for export or something. It was clear that they were just playing to the gallery. I was seeing all kinds of posts that, oh, even this EO6 was meant for Fayose, and some people are saying, Kwakute Mameno, you know, the funny things. This is a democratic era. Looting is a big problem in our country. But you must first find evidence before you can imagine that you'll be able to put someone behind bars. You can detain someone temporarily, but the courts will free that person if you cannot provide evidence. So rather than EFCC wasting so much time telling us that they've set up a 100-man committee that will grill Fayose, they should just have been working hard. How do we nail this guy? Where did he bribe contractors? Do we have confessional statements from contractors? Because if in 4 years you couldn't get cast iron evidence to nail this man, despite all the noise in the papers, then something is wrong with the anti-graft body. So, and it appears that he is confident that, look, these guys, they are not as effective as they want us to believe they are. So he's gone out to say, okay, he first told them that, look, I will appear on so date. And then they tried to ridicule that. Remember, even when they lost the election, for the first time, I saw the EFCC behave in an irresponsible manner by tweeting, taunting him over the fact that his candidate lost an election.
There were reports that tweet was not from
it's a lie.
From EFCC as it were.
You need to see the way EFCC behaves under this government. Sometimes I come to see, with the way EFCC believes now, do we really need them again? Most unprofessionally.
So now that, look, I'm not afraid of you guys.
Most unprofessionally.
Do whatever you want to do.
And that is why they keep losing big, high profile cases.
No, because I've said it before, if the attention is not so much on substance, if the attention is so much on grandstanding
politics
than substance, there is no way they will not be losing cases. And it pains us because the anti-graft body shouldn't be losing cases the way they are losing those cases. Let them focus more on just working behind the scenes. Don't try to impress us. Your work that we are going to see will impress us. We don't need you to be doing all those newspaper, whatever. No. Behind the scene, work hard at nailing these people. By the time that you come up with your case against them, it will look like the London Metropolitan Police case against Ibori. They succeeded in jailing him. They jailed his wife. They jailed his lawyer.
Girlfriend.
They jailed his secretary. They jailed girlfriend. So because they worked hard at it, that is what I expect. Not play to the gallery.
Let me hear Wade out on this. Are you optimistic that EFCC has a magic wand in this case? We cannot forget very quickly the lot of the former Plateau State governor, who's already serving 14 years in jail right now. Are you quite optimistic about this one?
Well, it all depends. You know that, like we have said times with that number on this program, you know, it's about diligent prosecution. Unfortunately, it's like the EFCC, you know, I find it difficult to differentiate between prosecution and persecution. You know, it's about evidence. What evidence do you have against this man? You bring it before the court, because the court is not expected to behave like a Father Christmas. They can only adjudicate based on the evidence that you provide. That's right. So it's not about media trial. You know, immediately after he lost the election, we all recall how they tweeted, you know, taunting him.
Mocking him.
It was as a result of the backlashes, you know, that came after that made them to delete it from their Twitter handle. You know, we have the same man now. He said, look, for this reason, I'm not going to attend the inauguration. It's not as if I have anything against the incoming governor who has just been sworn in today. But I also foresee a situation whereby if I attend, they may use that one as an opportunity to embarrass me by, you know, storming the place of the inauguration and take him away. He has shown that he's prepared, you know, with the way he went there. It's now left for the EFCC to go to court and provide whatever evidence they have against this man. In a place like China, you know, why is it that it is very difficult for whoever is brought before the courts to escape justice? Because they will have taken their time. It may take 1-2 years. They will take all the time that they need to take and make sure that they do a thorough investigation. So it becomes difficult for you to escape.
No, once they bring
you know, once they bring you to court in China for corruption, it's a done deal. It's a done deal.
You know, I always talk about the Zane's matter too. Since 2015, the London Metropolitan Police have seized Zane's passport. But they've not been able to bring up a charge against her. They are still working hard at it because they are not going to charge her
if they don't
and
have
then
evidence.
Come before the court and embarrass themselves. So by the time they are through, even if it takes them 10 years, by the time they are through and they present the cast iron evidence against Zane, she will not escape. But they are taking their time up till now. If it were to be Nigeria, by now Zane will have been arraigned. But they are taking their time, working hard. No charge against her as we speak. He's going to 4 years now.
Let us wrap this. Adekule, have you also lost faith in the anti-graft agency?
With the way they behave lately, I don't expect much from the agency. Unlike before, some of us were very, very proud of the agency. But now, it's like watching the body language of so, the way they behave. They find it as, you know, Wahid said, they don't know the difference between persecution and prosecution. Under Ibrahim Magu, I'm no longer proud of the EFCC.
All right, we're counting down to get you updates as regards what's happening right now at the EFCC headquarters. But when we return, APC moves to reverse INEC ban on Zamfara. Stay with us. Well, the last is probably yet to be heard about INEC's decision barring Zamfara state chapter of the APC from fielding candidates for the 2019 elections. Some party chieftains are scheming with the hope of reversing the ban. One of such schemes is a plan to move to forward the name of one of the aspirants in the botched primaries, Dauda Lawal, to INEC as a consensus governorship candidate. According to the stakeholders in the forefront of the plan, the only way out of the impasse is to field a neutral candidate. But will INEC shift ground on its earlier stance? Well, that's what we're talking about next. And it's amazing how, you know, divided the stakeholders are. INEC is saying that primaries did not hold. The APC national chairman is saying that what we resolved for is a consensus candidate. But the governor is saying that elections actually took place. Who do we believe now?
It's shameful what has played out in Zamfara. And this is what you get when all the key stakeholders in the project are pulling in different directions. When they tell you that Dauda Lawal is is a neutral candidate, it's a lie from the pit of hell. Dauda Lawal is the candidate of the cabal in the presidency. And all they did from the beginning, they made up their mind that this guy had to be the candidate. And those who were supposed to work with the APC, Zamfara State Chapter, had expressed directive to not cooperate with the people on ground.
The state chapter.
That's why you have this situation. It is not as if everywhere in Zamfara there was violence. Violence only happened in 7 wards. Just 7 wards. And we have this embarrassing situation on our hands. Clearly, the party leadership did not handle this situation well. Yes, if you are governor of a state and you want your information commissioner to replace you, finance commissioner to replace you, you must hammer out a deal with other stakeholders.
That's right.
There has to be unanimity. But that was not even enough, because within the presidency, the cabal made up their mind that Dauda Lawal, the man with an extremely deep pocket, had to be the person to supplant Yari when his tenure is gone. So this is where people made up their minds that it is Dauda or nothing, and the other person makes up his mind that it is Mukhtar or nothing, and Marafa makes up his mind that it is me or nothing. You have this kind of situation. There can be no doubt about it that they had crisis, but there was a determination even from within to make sure that that matter was not resolved, so that a scenario of fait accompli will now be created, whereby an irreconcilable differences would be created, such that the choice of the party would now be the one that...
The choice of the
From the center.
The choice of the cabal / national headquarters of the party.
So they are working in the same direction.
You are right. The choice of the cabal / the national headquarters of the party will now be inevitably presented. That is like walking to
Nasa.
That is what I see going on. Because apart from Shafe, Guso, Bungudu, Brene Magaji, we didn't have violence in other places.
There appears to be a pull between the party national headquarters and the APC in Zamfara. But the question really is, who is supposed to shoulder that leadership responsibility to call the conflicting parties together and say, this is the way to go?
If there is sincerity, the national headquarters of the party should have shown the direction.
You don't see the president playing any significant role here?
No.
So far, I've not seen President Muhammadu Buhari interfering.
No.
Because even some of his friends, he didn't even interfere.
He didn't try to
save anybody. And you see a lot of imposition, a lot of impunity that is going on even within the APC. See,
even impunity against his own friends. He didn't step in to say don't do it.
He would just... See, in this whole matter, it is not the party that will come out to say anything. It's INEC. Because the law says...
INEC has already given his verdict.
That's what I'm saying. The law says that if you are holding primaries there, you are not the one to tell me that you are holding primary. I should observe it. Yes. I will be the one that will say you hold primaries.
Interestingly, the governor is saying that INEC actually observed the election.
No. Will INEC be lying against itself?
That's what the governor said.
See, they didn't use a PRO or somebody. The INEC chairman himself.
Yes.
Believe me, a professor will not
And
do that.
he has repeated it.
He
Yeah,
said
just
it.
He said it yesterday. A
There
professor.
is no going back.
INEC has the final say on this. You can write letter, you can do all kind of, you know what politicians can do. If you hold primaries, INEC will be the one to write it in their record that we observe primary in so place. But if INEC says no, it's nothing like that, everything that you are saying is nothing. That's just it.
Is there any chance whatsoever that INEC is going to shift ground on this matter?
I will be shocked if I will be shocked if they do. I mean, in fact, they won't do it. A position whereby the parties will go to court, you know, whereby the court will now decide.
Already the governor seems to
even at that, let's assume that the court says, okay, go ahead and fill a particular candidate. After the election, the matter will still not end. Position whereby whoever loses at the election, we still go to court to say that, look, INEC was twisted because it is clear that there is an expiration. It's not an eternity. There is a time frame with which all candidates, the name of the candidate must be submitted. You didn't do that. It's a pronouncement that is by the law. You didn't do that. Then you now want to untwist INEC. If you see the way with which the INEC chairman, you know, re-emphasizes, you know that it's not likely that INEC will change its mind.
Except the courts, you know, and the Zamfara people, they've gone to court now.
That's right.
And the court gave a judgment that's saying that anything that happened between the 3rd to 7th of October is legal, while anything done from 8th to today, when the court issued that order, is illegal. So the court wants all the parties to maintain the status quo until the substantive suit is decided. You see, money is destroying us as a people. Money is destroying us as a people. All these crises you see around the states, the bottom line, the issue,
The pocket.
the dominant factor behind the crisis is money. When a candidate storms the national headquarters of a party, I'm not saying APC, although I cannot guarantee that it can never happen, and it begins to shell dollars.
Okay.
He's shelling out dollars to people. He is already compromising those party leaders. By the time he comes out, no matter what his governor wants to do,
They will do his bidding.
they will try to do their best to ensure that that candidate.
It's favored.
Let me just
we
hold
are
you for a
doing
minute,
it without.
Babajide.
Hold on a little bit.
Okay.
We are doing it sometimes without even looking at the record, the past of those people. Because someone like Dauda Lawal had case with EFCC. It's there. If you Google, you see his story. He even had to make refund because he's been linked with Diezani. And this is the same person that some people are saying he has to be the candidate of the party from Zamfara. So there can be, we can't go on like this.
We have a caller.
If someone is tainted, no matter how little, then you shouldn't consider that person for elective office. After all, that happened in 2011. Buhari refused to allow Mohamed Abacha become the candidate of the CPC in Kano, even though Mohamed Abacha had won the primaries. Once someone is tainted, no matter how little, because in future, this could become a court case. So this is the thing. And then you are telling us someone is neutral. Neutral how?
Let's take this call from Yakub. Yakub is calling us from Lagos. Thank you for holding on.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Please go ahead with your contribution.
And then good evening, Babajide.
I agree to.
And the rest of the team. For me, what is going on in Zamfara, I think as a person, I really love what INEC did. If they don't like what INEC did, the next thing for them to do is to go to court, as what Babajide said. Yeah. And then for me, I may be wrong, I may be right. The big problem and the people that cause problem in this country, those people are the governors. Because the reason is this, they always like to look for who succeeded them in the office. For what? In order to be able to cover all the perpetrating evil. And then sometimes it's not always play out the way they really wanted. Yes. Because if some people succeeded, they look at all of them that they make sure that people succeeded. They come to become an enemy of eternity. So It is a lesson. I love the stand of INEC so that to send a big message to the all political parties. If INEC can stand on this for the ruling party. So if you come to opposition party, we will not say that it's because of ruling party and all that. It is good. Let them go to court and challenge it. If the court rule otherwise, so be it.
Thank you very much for your contribution, Jacob.
Within 50 days, they could not decide on a candidate. A 50-day window.
Up till now, they are still fighting.
Even the so-called consensus candidate.
He's still talking that no,
I'm even saying
no consensus. There's no consensus.
Some of them are raising eyebrow over the man that look, there's nothing like consensus here.
There's no consensus.
They know that APC only want to use that one as an opportunity. They've come out to say no, there's nothing like consensus.
Some people are saying that if INEC doesn't shift its ground, that this is not only going to be a big lesson, it is what internal, democracy needs in Nigeria to survive.
That is, follow the law.
Follow the law.
What INEC is doing is good. Even some people will now.
There is a
some people who want to.
There's a deadline for
some
the
people
conduct
who like
of primaries.
Some people who love to criticize.
Who
love to criticize INEC that it's not independent, it's not this. May say, look, wait a minute. It's like this INEC is independent. What happened in Zamfara is what Yoruba will say, kakaki kuma jesese, avishawadanuni.
That's what many of them.
Yes,
that's the way they
all of them.
If I don't get it, nobody will get it.
Up to this morning, still believes that there is nothing like primary in Zamfara State. That if anybody, forwards any name to anywhere, it is pure illegality, impunity.
Interestingly, the APC chairman says that this same scenario played out in Kano for the PDP, and INEC did not bar the party from fielding candidates.
They should deal with the...
It's okay. Stop mentioning...
The elephant in the room. Whether we like it or not, when we look at these primaries, there has been far more crisis generated by these primaries in the APC than in the PDP.
Yes.
So what are we talking about? Let him look at what's going on in his own party. Because, yes, he inherited a fractured party, but he must not make things worse. I've supported him, I've defended the Shomole to the best of my ability. But that this kind of thing will happen in Zamfara, and the party will be in a situation more like he cannot present a candidate in my most drunken state. I could never have imagined that that day will come. That a party will not have a candidate.
Could this also be a situation where the authority of the national headquarters of the party is being challenged? Because they seem to have given a verdict on this issue, and the state party is going a parallel line.
Because the national headquarters of the party has not shown enough evidence to show that it was neutral in the whole thing.
Yes.
This idea of saying that, okay, because it happened under PDP, we should also allow it to happen under... It doesn't make sense to me. Because the fact that people have been doing certain things for a very long time does not make it right. The law is clear. You are giving a specific date.
In Kano, PDP didn't do governorship primary. That's the point that they are making.
Did they have the same kind of crisis like what they have in Zamfara?
The situations are not the same.
They should stop comparing apple and oranges. What happened in Zamfara State is condemnable. Believe me, if at the end of the day, APC is stopped finally from, presenting candidates, it will be a big lesson. Maybe they may learn from...
Who contributed to this will be expelled from the party.
Yes. And it will also be a big
it should start from the national headquarters of the party, not only in
and it will also be a big plus for INEC. People who have been saying INEC is biased, you'll now be wondering, this is the party of the president.
You are now seeing pictures of
that decision. It's fantastic.
They are saying this is the candidate. Is he the only one who contested? Even a former governor of the state, Mutari Shinkafi, he contested now. And that's the in-law of the governor.
We have a caller from Sokoto. Good evening, Hamid.
Yeah, good evening to you all.
Good evening, sir.
Today and your guest, my very warm good evening to all of you. I called to make my contribution on this Zamfara issue. Before just on my TV, I was on another channel and I saw that court has directed INEC not to disqualify any candidate from Zamfara. So I would like Ogajide to shed some light. And on the Lawal,
I talked about it
earlier. Lawal, I think truly, to us who are very close to the state, we can say Dauda was neutral on all of those crises that happened. So if he was chosen based on his neutrality of the crisis, I think APC is right too. This is my little contribution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ahmed.
He thinks that Dauda is neutral.
It's not neutral. The people, the cabal in the presidency, that is their candidate. So he can't be neutral.
Well,
can't be neutral.
It's also amazing.
The court matter that I talked about is the one
That's
I talked about.
You mentioned that earlier.
Yes, but what the court, there's no decision reached. The court just say, okay, maintain the status quo. You know, so it's not a court judgment.
It's interesting to note
a
here,
ruling.
There are reports that one of the frontline contenders had aligned itself with the decision of INEC. It sounds like that Yoruba saying that.
No, because that person has given up on himself. Okay. He knows they are not going to pick him. He knows they are not going to pick him.
So instead of, if I'm not going to pick,
I will also stop you.
We don't want any
It's people like that will go to court. If you eventually say you are picking a candidate, yes. People like that will go to court.
So if you don't clear this mess from the beginning now, when they go to court and they get judgment, you blame yourself.
So there's a window now before the final candidate is submitted to INEC. I think the date for governorship and state assembly is October 22nd to November 2nd. Are you hopeful as we begin to wrap this up? Are you hopeful that anything can happen in favor of the APC?
That is for substitution of candidates.
Okay.
The law allows you to resolve post-primaries conflicts. And you may now substitute candidates. I told you what happened with Mohamed Abacha. When he won he was the one who was financing the CPC in Kano. And he won the primary with a landslide, defeated Buhari's candidate. That's Buhari's former ADC, Lawa Jafaru. I defeated him with a landslide. But with the court case hanging on his neck, corruption and all that, hanging on Mohamed Abacha's neck, Buhari and others thought wisely that it would be wrong to fill this kind of person. And so they dropped him and put Lawa Jafaru Issa. Lawa Jafaru Issa was defeated by Kwankwaso because the CPC members voted against their own party. So it wasn't like Kwankwaso was so popular in 2011. It was the CPC members in Kano voting against the choice of Buhari. So that was what happened. So the thing is, there is room for you to change candidates.
Yes.
But the other ceiling, the previous ceiling was for conduct of primaries. That's October 7th. So they don't mean the same thing.
As far as the APC is concerned, they had a consensus. Let's move on, gentlemen, and flip the page. It's said of the lion that once it tastes human flesh, the urge for human blood becomes insatiable until it's tamed. So it has been for Boko Haram insurgents in Nigeria. Once they killed a humanitarian worker, Saifura Hussaini, on September the 17th, rather than being remorseful in their dastardly act, they have added another victim to their list. On Monday, a faction of Boko Haram, the Islamic State's West African province, killed Hawa Leman, an aid worker with the International Committee of the Red Cross. Not done. They vowed to keep the lone Dapchi schoolgirl in their captivity, Leah Sharibu, in perpetual slavery. This carnage, in addition to a reported waste of lives of 43 innocent children they have used for suicide bombing in 2018 alone. But who would tame these hungry lions before they claim another innocent victim? It's a very sad development hearing about the killing of Hawa Liman. But Babajide, let's begin with the deadline given by this faction of Boko Haram. The federal government, in a statement by the Minister of Culture and Information, says that it's shocked and saddened by the killing, despite the actions taken by government. He was quoted to have said that, we kept the line of negotiations open all through. In all negotiations, we acted in the best interest of the women and the country as a whole. Is it possible that a negotiation held before the deadline and the terrorists still went ahead with their threat?
It's difficult to say with finality that there was indeed some negotiation. I think that what must have angered the boys was the fact that we were stalling as a nation to engage them, because in the past, you engage these guys, you pay them some money through a third party, maybe the Red Cross or the Swiss government, and they will now use the money to buy weapons, with which they will be killing our soldiers for fun. So government will now take its time and ask, is this kind of negotiation necessary? In any case, the interface between the two groups have not told us that this was the condition that these guys came forward with. Yes, if those conditions, if the government finds those conditions unpalatable, then they will slow down about going ahead with the deal. I believe that, unlike about a year ago, negotiations between the Boko Haram and the Nigerian government has been much more difficult. Remember, these guys picked up women, wives of police officers who were going for, I think, a wedding along Damboa Road. They detained them, they abducted them, to lock them away for some time, but the government negotiated with them and they were released. Same with those university lecturers, University of Maiduguri lecturers, the oil workers who were picked up around Magumeri. But this time it's becoming extremely difficult, and those boys are showing their frustration. Another thing is the fact that the father figure in that Boko Haram faction, which is Mama Noor. Mama Noor has been executed by these boys, because they felt it was slowing them down and all that. So with Mama Noor out of the way, the person who used to tell them to show restraint is gone. So you have a situation in which a 26-year-old, 27-year-old boy is leading a terrorist group with his own brothers, behind him, Abba and the rest of them. They are going to be extremely deadly, because that father figure is no longer there to say, gentlemen, let's not do it this way. So I've noticed since the reported execution of Mama Noor, this group, the faction, the Albanawi faction, has been extremely brutal, even in its attack on Nigerian soldiers. If the army tells you the true story of the fatalities that we are suffering in the hands of these guys, honestly, Nigerians will start going to church and be praying that God should just visit his anger on these boys and wipe them out once and for all. Because it's been really, really tough. The last 6 months, these guys have killed so many Nigerian soldiers. Even last week, right. October 10, it's not in the papers. October 10, they went to a village called Melete and killed 18 soldiers. These people. So, look, beyond these the health workers have gone. Remember, they even killed a male health worker right there at the scene in Iran. They are gone.
I think last month.
No, that same attack. Okay. They killed that male guy, that Igbo guy. They killed him. But for me, we should be looking at the bigger picture. How do we tame these guys once and for all? Because if we don't tame them and they are hungry for ransom, they will still be attacking communities and picking people.
That
we have to defeat this group once and for all.
That leads us to this. Let me come to you, Aid, very quickly. The federal government says it did everything any responsible government should do to save the aid worker. Now, that's scary anyway, because the fact that if government is saying we did everything and someone is dead, then that's terrible. But it's also saying that the government will keep the negotiations open and continue to work to free the innocent women who remain in the custody of the abductors. Which way now to go? It appears that if government is saying we are still going to negotiate, and the government said we negotiated for this, then it's like we're in between, the devil and the deep blue sea.
That's where the problem lies. When you are negotiating, you find yourself in kind of situation and you are negotiating, you negotiate at their own terms and conditions, because your destiny is no longer in your hands. They believe they have something that is valuable that they can use to negotiate, and they will hold it to their chest. And that's what they have been doing all along, because they know that you are playing into our hand. You have no choice. Whatever. They are the one that will take the terms and conditions of the negotiation. That is why it is important that government should go all the way out to ensure that there is maximum security. It is a bit difficult anyway. There's no doubt about it. When you say you did all you could do, it's asking to a student who prepare for an examination, did all he could, and at the end of the day, he failed.
He didn't do enough.
It shows that it shows that whatever effort you made has not achieved the desired result.
The base is not good enough.
It's not good enough. It's quite unfortunate that they are now visiting their hangar on humanitarian workers. These are the people that are even risking their life to save other people who are vulnerable.
What's the implication of this on humanitarian efforts in northeastern region of Nigeria?
It will scare, efforts to help. It will scare, genuine, aid workers from Nigeria. When they kill Nigerians, we are not happy about it. But when they kill aid workers, UN workers, the whole world will shake. Just one. Because they are not just ordinary workers. They are on humanitarian service.
To know that they even dare to go to RAN, where many health workers are running away from.
In military warfare, there are categories of people they don't touch. In war.
That's right.
The rules of engagement will say, no, you don't do this. You don't touch this. You don't move there. But now, in Boko Haram warfare, anything goes.
They call them apostates or something.
Believe me, until we are able to, because it has become a multi-billion-dollar business now. Yes. And I don't want to believe any government that will tell me that's done enough when the enough has not, provided.
The test of your efforts.
But it's in the result. So when the result has not measured up to what you are telling us. The other day, some people wanted to make political gain out of the Leah Sharibu's case and then government started making call, delegation visiting. We want this girl out by all means.
By all means possible.
Let her be out.
The question now
then,
is
fortify security in a way that when you negotiate and pay, we know it is bad. Again. We know it is bad. But you must make sure that there is adequate security. Make it impossible for these terrorists to come and pick some of us again. But when you go, you negotiate, you give ransom or you release some of these criminals, and that's then we clap for you. You have done well. You didn't provide enough security. These same guys, we see it as a big lucrative business. They will come back, pick some of us again, then you go back again, begging and negotiating.
Another thing, when you look at, we still have up to 101 Chibok girls in their hands.
Yes, nobody's talking about them.
Nobody is talking about them.
Again.
So if we got some of the Chibok girls released last year,
and they promised that they.
But we said we would struggle to release the rest of them. Now those girls are still there. At least 101 of them split between the two factions. So when are we going to secure the release of those girls? As long as those girls are there, the government must know that it still has a lot left to do. Because the president said he will only agree that he has defeated Boko Haram when he has brought back all the Chibok girls. He said it with his own mouth. So the president has that mandate of the Nigerian people to go and secure the release of the Chibok girls still in detention, and Leah Sharibu and the rest of them. Whichever way he wants to do it, let him just do it. Because that is what will make Nigerians happy.
Yes.
For us watching these people being killed, because I learned they even posted a picture of the execution. Watching innocent people who lay down their lives to protect other people being executed. I mean, it makes no sense.
Gentlemen,
being killed.
We have to go now. It's a very terrible situation, but we hope that we'll find a way. They say we always do. Gentlemen, thank you for coming. Babaji Dekolade Otitoju, Wahid, Bakare, Adekunle Yusuf.
My pleasure.
It's a pleasure hanging out with you.
Yes, my pleasure.
And that's all on Journalist Hangout. Don't forget to join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on other platforms showing on the screen and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Bye for now and God bless Nigeria.